From the 22 News Plus studio, this is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of InFocus. I'm your host, Patrick Berry. If you've been in the market for a car the last, maybe 10 years, maybe even more, then you've realized cars are expensive. Aside from buying a home, it is the second most expensive thing that you will purchase. So you want to make sure you get the most money for your buck. Well, I've asked Mike Quincy from Consumer Reports, he's an automotive writer and tester with Consumer Reports, to come in because Consumer Reports recently issued the best car brands out there.
Correct.
And you're not, and it's really over the life of a car, right? So it's not, this is the best car this year in the 2026 model year. This is the brands that create reliable cars based on various factors. Did I understand it correctly?
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. I mean, every year Consumer Reports surveys its members about their experiences owning new cars, newish cars, I suppose. Okay. Reliability for cars, for new cars that you're buying right now, are based on the last 3 model years. If the car hasn't, if the model hasn't been redesigned.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. So I've got a 20-year-old Nissan Pathfinder, 200,000 miles on it. Why don't they ask people with older cars? Because a 3-year-old car is still new. Right. I mean, you shouldn't have problems on a 3-year-old car.
And we have reliability data going back 20 years. So we do ask our members also about their older cars as well. So we have used car reliability and we have new car reliability.
Okay.
But the brand report cards are really looking at new car purchases where we combined reliability, owner satisfaction, overall scores in Consumer Reports road tests, as well as safety information and crash test data. So that's kind of making up what the best and the worst. If you're looking at a new vehicle at a brand level, this is kind of where you start.
Okay, so if somebody's out, right now looking for, in 2026, I'm about to buy a new car. What's going to give me the best bang for the buck over the next 5 years? This is sort of the report that they want to pour through and understand the brands that are going to help that car buyer save money.
Exactly. And what Consumer Reports research has shown is that the models that go through more conservative redesigns, in other words, the car companies are kind of reusing older proven engines, transmissions, chassis, suspension setup, stuff like that. Those tend to be the more reliable models in the short run as well as the long run. The models that are most problematic have new technology. So car companies that really don't have a lot of experience making electric vehicles, plug-in hybrids, those kinds of new approaches to technology, those are the most problematic when it comes to buying a new car.
That seems like common sense, though.
Well, you'd think it would be common sense. But I mean, what we're finding is that even among generally reliable brands, we're talking, Toyota, Subaru, Honda, the first model year production can be a little bumpy.
Mm-hmm.
And the better manufacturers work out the bugs, and maybe you buy the second model year of that brand. One example is Lexus. Lexus is traditionally an awesome automaker, not only from a performance standpoint, but from a reliability
standpoint. And
been around
for decades.
And yes, and so they redesigned their GX SUV. And, lo and behold, the first model year, according to Consumer Reports members, the GX only got average for reliability.
Really?
Now, For some manufacturers, they would jump up and just we're average, yay. For Lexus, that's a real downgrade. And so you think, well, okay, first model year GX, okay, they had a few issues, and I'm not a betting person, but I'm going to bet that for the next survey of the GX, it probably gets a little bit better because Toyota looks at the data, say, okay, we got to fix this, we got to fix that. But average is still good enough to be recommended if all the other factors of our performance testing go in and higher owner satisfaction. So average isn't horrible, but
it's something to build on.
It's something to build on it, and the manufacturers that have gotten into plug-in hybrids, like Mazda, for example, and we have a warm spot in our hearts for Mazda these days. They produced these new hybrids, the CX-70 and the CX-90. both had uncharacteristically poor Mazda reliability because this is new tech for them.
All right. Again, I put myself in the manufacturer's head of, all right, even though I've created this new product, still got to sell them, So even though it might not be great, even though it's average, or even as you point out, to the way you pointed out, average is great. But if it's not average and it's below average, they still got to sell them to make money.
Right. Unfortunately, not all car buyers read Consumer Reports, and of course, they should. Get on it, people. Read Consumer Reports. But the car makers have to rely. I mean, they're like any product. They rely on some dazzle and some marketing savvy and neat commercials. I mean, the Super Bowl's is coming up, and all the car. I was thinking about it back. Back when blogs were new, it's like everyone's blogging, and so we would live blog during the Super Bowl, commenting on the car ads. At Consumer Reports. Yeah. A coworker of mine and I would be on our laptops during the game and be typing up what we thought the commercials were. So I mean, to get your point, it's like the new cars come out. The car makers have to sell them,
right?
And so they're going to sell. This is new and it's flashy and it looks cool. And for a lot of buyers, that's enough. They like, oh, I like the styling. Styling is a big decision point for people when it comes to buying cars. But the educated consumer, if you're listening to Consumer Reports, and again, you should, wait a year. Don't be the first person on your block to have the newest and latest and greatest car. We certainly saw that with Rivian. Rivian is a premium electric vehicle manufacturer. They have a pickup truck. They have an SUV. They looked kind of cool. People were dazzled by it. And if you were the first on the block to buy a Rivian when they first came out a couple of years ago, you probably experienced a lot of reliability issues. Rivian has had a very rocky startup in producing mass-produced vehicles. They don't have the experience of legacy manufacturers. But it's like, well, I'm the first one on the block to have a Rivian. Look at me. All right, cool.
That's a certain type of purchase.
You pay a price for that. What do they call it? Early adapters or something like that. Usually pay a little bit more, and you don't have the technology isn't proven.
All right, we are up on our first commercial break. We have plenty more to talk about when it comes to the best car brands out there. Stay with us. We're back in just a few minutes.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry. This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Welcome back, everyone, to this edition of InFocus. I'm your host, Patrick Berry. We're here in the 22 News Plus studios. Sitting across the desk from me today from Consumer Reports is Mike Quincy. We're talking about the best car brands to buy, not the individual models, but the overarching brand names that are out there. Consumer Reports has just issued their which brands make the best cars. This is their website there. And on that website, they detail a slew of great information. But Mike, we went to break, and I failed to ask you this question. How frequently does this report come out? Annually? A couple times a year? How often?
Once a year. Okay. We get a big information dump after we get our survey results, and we crunch all the numbers, and we get a new list of recommended models, not recommended models, the most reliable brands, the least reliable brands, the models that have the highest owner satisfaction, and then we use that information, and we'll also put out our top 10 picks, which actually, if I can tease it, is going to be coming out in a few weeks.
Oh, perfect. And you do something also do you do something as well additionally on used cars and older cars like you mentioned?
Yes. We have best and worst used cars. We have really smart data people that I work with, way smarter than me.
I love those people.
And they crunch the reliability numbers, and we have best used cars for $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. Best used SUVs. ConsumerReports.org is a great resource for used car information.
I just want to point out, Consumer Reports is a nonprofit agency.
Correct.
So it's not a for-profit.
Yeah, that's why we're a .org, not a .com. I can't believe how many years I've been been saying that. Yeah, think about since the 90s, right?
Exactly. All right, let's get into the good, the bad, and the ugly. All right, I was thinking about starting with the best brand out there, but I want to flip it and start with the worst brand out there. Which is it?
You have me on, so you're always starting at the bottom.
Oh, I don't know about that, my friend.
So unfortunately for those that are feeling patriotic or rooting for the home team, the worst brand in Consumer Reports brand rankings is Jeep. For the third year in a row.
Really?
Yeah, which is unfortunate because the Jeep product generally do pretty well in Consumer Reports testing. That's when I talk about Consumer Reports testing, we have a 327-acre test track, and we put every vehicle through acceleration, braking, fuel economy, all those kinds of evaluations that we do at Consumer Reports. But when you include the reliability data and owner satisfaction data, Jeep, unfortunately, is at the bottom.
And Jeep's been an American product for what? 80 years?
Oh, yeah.
World War II is really when they sort of made a name for themselves, but they were out before that, right?
Oh, exactly. I mean, it was once owned by American Motors Corporation.
Oh,
and
AMC.
If you're a car person, you'll remember the Gremlin and the Pacer and all those goofy designs. But American Motors was just bleeding money in the late 70s and early 80s. And the Chrysler Corporation came in and bought American Motors just to get Jeep.
Oh, interesting.
Because Jeep was the most valuable product of the old American AMC brand.
Okay.
And Chrysler's made a lot of money selling Jeeps over the years. The problem with the Jeep products is their reliability. And as we talked about before, Chrysler is one of those manufacturers that doesn't have a lot of experience selling hybrids and plug-in hybrids. And the plug-in hybrid version of the Jeep Grand Cherokee and the Wrangler are just
atrocious.
Great word. Atrocious for reliability.
Okay.
So it's a technology that the company doesn't have a lot of experience doing.
Okay. So I'm going to pull up part of the report. This is the bottom, folks. So there you got Jeep. Off to the right, what are the green, the orange, and the yellow? What are the categories there?
So we're looking at the overall road test score. We're looking at overall reliability, and we're looking at overall owner satisfaction.
So I'm sorry, my eyes wandered a little. Sadly, look at the bottom. From 24 to 31, Chevy, Chrysler, Rivian, kind of a newer product, Alfa Romeo, been around forever, Dodge, GMC, Land Rover, one of the most expensive imported cars. That's the bottom of the list. I'm dying to see what's at the top of the list. And Mercedes-Benz is 23.
That's what's crazy about Land Rover. You spend a lot of money. And according to Consumer Reports data, their reliability is, to use your term, atrocious. And you spend a lot, but once the warranty is over, especially for the European brands, you're in a world of hurt. You're going to get carpal tunnel writing checks for these repairs.
So I think, and this is, I know it's not true, but in the consumer's head is, oh, the warranty ended Monday. The car breaks on Tuesday. That seems like, and pick it. It could be your refrigerator. It could be your stove. It could be a pair of shoes, a computer, your smartwatch.
And with that luck, you should go to the casino.
Exactly.
But yet, no. It's the thing about Land Rovers and some of the other European makes and models is they don't just break after the warranty is over. They break during the warranty.
Ooh.
But the thing is, it's also your time. If your expensive European car is giving you problems and you have to keep bringing it back to the dealer, yes, the dealer is going to cover the fixes, but you lose all that time. Also, the hassle of bringing the car back and forth. Can you arrange for a ride? Or do they have a loaner for you? You have to get to work. But the real nightmare is once the warranty is over, European brands are the most expensive to maintain.
So I'll share a story with you. When I was a kid, always wanted a BMW. I don't know why. Always wanted a BMW. Finally had a chance to buy one. Loved the car. Changing the oil, going in for its regular oil changes every few thousand miles, cost me a small fortune.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember asking my mechanic, I'm like, buddy, you're killing me with this. He goes, you know how hard it is to change an oil on a BMW? You got to remove all these they compact everything under that hood. which means you got to remove a whole bunch of other stuff just to get at the oil filter and to have it. Oh
and in Consumer Reports, we meet with manufacturers regularly. They tell us about their incoming products and stuff like that. You learn about automotive manufacturing. Quite often, the people that design the cars, the engineers that say, we're going to do this engine, blah, blah, blah. They're not thinking about maintenance. They're thinking, oh, this is the best car. And maintenance, you worry about that later. My brother's a hardworking doctor out in California. Years ago, he bought a Ford Explorer and it drove great. And he had excellent reliability, drove it forever. He got T-bone in an accident. He's okay, but the car was destroyed. But he's like, I'm going to treat myself. I work hard. He bought himself a Porsche Boxster. He's out in California, so he's always putting the top down. Yeah. But he said the first time he got the oil change in the Boxster, which
because they have to take out the center console because it's a mid-engine car.
It's like he had the cheapest oil possible for his Explorer. Now he's got Mobil 1, all this really expensive, and he just said I almost passed out. The cost of an oil change for an Explorer versus a Boxster.
He's a doctor. He can afford it.
Well, yeah, but it still shocked him to his core. I love the way European cars drive.
Absolutely.
To your point, BMWs are awesome. In fact, I drove a BMW 220 out to the studio today. The steering is fantastic. The handling is great. The seats are amazing. But do I want to own one after the warranty's up? No. So that's why leases are really popular.
There you go.
You lease the car, and once the lease is done, that's usually around when the warranty's over.
I'm going to start to scroll up. We're going to go to break, but I just want to scroll up to, there's the top 15 right there, from Genesis down to Jeep. All right. We're going to head to our second break. We'll be right back in a moment.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry. This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this edition of InFocus. I'm your host, Patrick Berry. Sitting across the desk from me today is Mike Quincy. He is with Consumer Reports. He is, and we're talking about the best car brands to buy, not specific individual models, but the best overall brands. So when we left it, we talked about the bottom, Jeep, American Classic, worst brand available. Land Rover, classic, expensive, import, second worst vehicle out there. And then I'll pull up the screen again. So then we went through, I shared this screen with everybody. We went through the bottom group, you get up to Audi is number 16, Genesis, which is the Hyundai luxury brand, right? And then Mazda, which I just bought, Mike, in the middle of the road. Kia outdoes a Mazda. Who would have thought? Kia outdoes a Nissan, which I have the Pathfinder. All right. So as you can see, in the number third best spot is Porsche, outdoing Honda and Toyota. All right. I'm going to scroll up, Mike. What is Subaru's deal? Why are they the best vehicle out there?
They're the best brand out. They do generally conservative redesigns. So they're not bringing radically new technology. They're using proven platforms, proven engines, proven transmissions. They've got the all-wheel drive stuff down like nothing. They can do it in their sleep.
Sidetracking a little, every Subaru model is an all-wheel drive, right?
Except for their BRZ sports car.
Oh, the sports car, okay.
And which is a great vehicle, by the way. But yes, no, I wouldn't want to drive a BRZ through a snowstorm. But all the other Subarus, yes. Subaru has done very well in Consumer Reports testing. Their cars tend to be quiet. Their ride tends to be good. Handling is competent. They have high levels of standard safety features, which we're really excited to see. And Consumer Reports members report that the reliability of their models, going back, even 10, 20 years, continue to be really, really strong.
Okay.
So it is easy to recommend a Subaru, and they are sitting on top of our brand rankings.
All right. So just before we went to break, I was throwing BMW under the bus. But they're number two.
They're number two. Listen, respect to BMW. Their models do exceptionally well in Consumer Reports testing. I mean, an overall road test score of 89 is fantastic. They produce vehicles that are comfortable. They handle well. They have engaging handling. They're fast. They're fuel efficient. But in the last few years, BMW has improved their reliability, and that's the reason why they are ranked number two.
So,
They're in other words, when we talk about European brands, if you're going to go for one, I would definitely steer somebody toward a BMW.
Okay, and what's shocking also is Honda, Toyota. Granted, they're top five. I'm not throwing shade either of their ways, but they are, I think the public would perceive them as being, they should be 1 and 2 just because of the public perception. Honda, Toyota, Honda, Toyota, Honda,
right.
Toyota. But they're 4 and 5.
And they are let down by that new technology. Honda took a big risk partnering with General Motors for their all-electric Prologue.
Okay.
The Honda Prologue is based on a GM platform, GM batteries, GM technology, and it has been a disaster.
So let's scroll back down here. Where's our first General Motors car there, Mike? 17?
Cadillac, yes.
So Honda, would you say Honda or Toyota partnered?
Honda.
So Honda, which is number 4, partnered with the number 17.
Yes.
Probably not the smartest decision.
Well, as we've talked about, to design and produce an electric vehicle for manufacturers is very expensive. A lot of manufacturers don't have a lot of experience making electric vehicles, and Consumer Reports reliability certainly shows that. Now, you can kind of wrap Honda's knuckles and say, you should have done this in-house. But considering how much it costs to produce a new electric platform, they saved money by partnering with General Motors. The problem is that this General Motors
partnered with a company that doesn't have success in it.
Well, it's above my pay grade. I'm not on that executive level, so I don't really know how they came to this conclusion.
Right.
But the Honda Prologue has hurt Honda's overall reliability. And I'm sure
it's a nice looking car, though.
It is a nice looking car, and it actually kind of drives really well. But Consumer Reports members have told us about just a nightmare with this General Motors EV platform, and it isn't just the Prologue; it's the EV Cadillacs, it's the EV Chevrolets. If you're interested in an electric vehicle, and there's some good ones out there,
right.
I would steer clear of any ones produced by General Motors.
Actually, let me go back to the list here. Tesla's number 10.
Yeah.
So they're not so bad.
Tesla has also improved its reliability. In fact, all of their models except the goofy looking Cybertruck, which actually Consumer Reports tested, is at least average in reliability. Give Tesla credit. They've been producing kind of the same models, the same technology for a number of years. But again, it goes back to that same theory. You kind of refine what you have. You don't throw everything out and bring in something new.
Right.
And so they kind of just build on proven technology, proven platforms. And that is really
helped. When Tesla first came out, not that reliable.
They definitely had some issues.
Because it was new.
Yes. The better car companies make improvements. They what's called like warranty claims. So a car comes in, it's got a problem, it's covered under warranty. All this data gets sent back to the home offices of the car companies, and they study it. And they look, okay, well, that was a failure. That was a failure. That was a failure. And so for the next model year, we need to improve these things.
Right.
And how they make the sausage is kind of difficult to explain. But the better car companies look at where their weaknesses are and shore them up. And another model year goes by, Consumer Reports members look at their cars like, well, it's been pretty reliable. And you add up all the data and all the numbers, and you can see how some manufacturers get better and some manufacturers fall.
Fantastic. ConsumerReports.org is where people can go for more information and be smarter with all your purchases. Mike Quincy from Consumer Reports, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on.
This is 22 News in Focus with Patrick Berry.